This is immigration attorney Amanda Thomas. The United States Department of State has issued additional guidance about the war in Ukraine. Watch the rest of this video to find out the latest updates and how it may affect you. For Americans still in Ukraine, the Department of State has requested that you fill out a crisis intake form. The crisis intake form allows you to provide U.S. representatives your most recent contact information so that they have a way to reach out to you. I will post a link to that information, including the crisis intake form, in the box below. The Department of State has stated that it will apply the same rules for B1, B2 visitors visas as it always has. That is, that B1, B2 visitors visas are only to be used for non-immigrant travel. Everyone who applies for a B1, B2 visitors visa is automatically assumed to have immigrant intent. It is the applicant's burden to prove that they do not have immigrant intent. In order to prove that you have non-immigrant intent, you must prove that you have strong ties to your home country pulling you back. Consular officers and Customs and Border Patrol officers always screen for immigrant intent. They will not allow you to use a visitor's visa if they feel that you have not overcome the automatic presumption that you intend to use this non-immigrant visa to come to the United States permanently. That means that a consular officer could refuse your visa, or a Customs and Border Patrol officer could turn you away at the border. This has always been the rule for non-immigrant visitors visas. I believe that it will be hard for Ukrainian refugees to prove that they do not have immigrant intent, especially given the current circumstances. Additionally, for those who do not already have visitors visas, the wait times for those appointments are very long right now. Right now, it is taking several months at most embassies to get an appointment for that type of visa, if you can get an appointment at all. However, if you would still like to apply for a visitor's visa, you are allowed to apply at any consulate or embassy in which you are physically present and which there are appointments available. All immigrant visa applications, except for applications for adoption that were previously being processed through the U.S. Embassy in Kyiv, are now being processed through the U.S. Consulate General in Frankfurt, Germany. Adoption petitions are now being processed through the embassy in Warsaw, Poland. Immigrant petitions, which had previously been scheduled for interviews at the embassy in Kyiv, will now be rescheduled for an interview at the Consulate General in Frankfurt, Germany. Immigrant petitions that are documentarily qualified and waiting for an appointment at the National Visa Center will receive notice that their petition has been transferred from the embassy in Kyiv to the Consulate General in Frankfurt, Germany. If you would like to have your immigrant visa petition transferred to a different embassy that is not Frankfurt, Germany, you should contact that embassy and find out the procedures for initiating that transfer. It will be different at every embassy. Or you can call the National Visa Center. You can also request to expedite your petition. Most applications or petitions are reviewed in the order in which they are received. A request to expedite is a request to have your petition or application moved up in line so that it gets a decision sooner. To request to expedite your petition or application at USCIS, you need to call the customer helpline and undergo some initial screening questions. The initial screening questions screen for appropriate reasons to be requesting that your case be expedited. One of the appropriate reasons to request to expedite a case is an urgent humanitarian situation. I do believe that the situation in Ukraine qualifies for this. After your request to expedite makes it past the initial screening process, you may receive an email requiring you to submit evidence to support your request to expedite. Make sure that you have your evidence ready because you may only have 48 hours to respond to this email with your evidence. Similarly, a request to expedite at the National Visa Center also goes through an initial screening process. However, that initial screening process takes place through email. You must include your reason why you would like to request your case be expedited, and you have to include evidence supporting that reason in the initial email. If your request makes it past the initial screening email at the National Visa Center, they will send your request to the local embassy for final approval. You must submit separate requests to expedite at USCIS and the NVC. This means that even if USCIS granted you a request to expedite, you have to submit another one once your case gets to the National Visa Center. And a grant of a request to expedite does not necessarily mean that your visa application will also be granted. A request to expedite that gets granted simply moves your petition ahead in line. I would anticipate that there would be a lot of requests to expedite for people in this situation. The war in Ukraine has caused millions of people to be displaced from their homes. So even a granted request to expedite will still require some wait time before an interview is scheduled, albeit less time than it would have before. Some COVID-19 safety measures have been temporarily suspended for Ukrainian refugees. The COVID-19 testing requirement has been suspended until April 1st, 2022. There is also a limited national interest exception to the COVID-19 vaccine requirement. Check the links in the box below for more information about this. Ukrainian refugees may also be eligible for humanitarian parole. Humanitarian parole is not a visa and it is not a path to permanent residence. It is simply temporary permission to be in the United States due to an urgent humanitarian situation. Humanitarian parole is not made as an alternative to other visa pathways, and it is not made as an alternative to the refugee process. The process to be admitted to the United States as a refugee is unfortunately a long one. However, I do believe that there may be some immigration-related relief for Ukrainian refugees. President Joe Biden has stated that he will welcome Ukrainian refugees with open arms. But until there is an official immigration program for Ukrainian refugees, the best we can do is navigate the immigration system as it is now. Of course, this is an evolving situation. I plan to make update videos as more updates become available. If you're interested in receiving my updates, please like this video and subscribe to my channel.